Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this celebratory final episode of my very first season of the Finding Your Voice podcast. This podcast was started because I remember that moment in my walk towards the goal that God had for me. It was a lonely walk. I couldn't find the support I thought I needed. I didn't have anybody to speak into my life and support me. None of that. And I thought, what a great platform with from the encouragement of my publicist, Cyrus Webb. He said, Velma, this is the podcast you really need to have. And I said, I agree, because I needed this kind of podcast. But I'm excited because my special guest today means a lot to me. She and her family, I love them all. And I know that she has done some phenomenal things and has continued to do so and pushed past some really trying times. But oh, if you haven't heard Listen Linda, you're going to hear about Listen Linda today. We're going to spill all the tea on this final episode. This is celebratory, and what better person to have on the platform with me than someone I cherish and adore? So meet Jacqueline Cox. Jacqueline, introduce yourself to everyone.
Hi, thank you so much, girl. You could bring somebody in, girl. You could bring somebody in. I like that introduction, hon. Yes. So my name is Jacqueline Cox. For those who you don't know me, I am Listen Linda and also Mrs. Illinois USA Ambassador,
Woo-hoo!
best-selling author, CEO of Listen Linda Brand and Marketing, also the editor, chief editor in chief, and founder of Listen Linda magazine. I am an entrepreneur. I'm a mom. I'm a wife, but most of all, I'm a woman of worth. Okay. Courtesy of Dr. Velma, you can find these on drvelmabagby.com. Shameless plug. Shameless.
Oh, this is sweet. Sweet.
I I'm just so delighted to be here today. I'm not gonna go down a list of accomplishments because I'm pretty sure we're gonna roll into those things. But I just want to first thank you so much, Dr. Velma, for having me. You know I've been calling you every week. Now when I'm gonna be on your show? You got all these other folks on here now. When is my turn? My turn, my turn, my turn. And she said, I got you. I got you. You don't even know. But then when she told me I was gonna be the finale, I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm
Yes.
with that. I'm with
This is the way you close a show,
This is
an
how you close
episode.
the show,
Yes. Yes.
okay?
Hmm.
So I'm just glad to be here. I am also a podcast host, as you know. I'm a
Uh-huh.
writer, and I'm a actually ordained minister. I actually now I can wed people. So I'm grateful for that. I got it in COVID, and then I forgot I had it. So then I got an email today saying that, oh, happy 4 year anniversary. 4 year anniversary. When I do that? I be doing so much, Dr. Velma. I be
Oh,
forgetting
wow. So
that I
folks can
did.
fly to Chicago and go in and have it done, huh?
They can do it virtually.
Whoa.
Yeah. So if you want to get married, you want Lisa Linda to uh what they say, officiate your wedding, holla at your girl. I'm right here.
Renew your vows.
Renew your vows. I'm right
Hmm.
here. I'm right I
That's
do it all.
awesome. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. Now, I know that you have done lots of projects. Let's just start with the books. Your husband is an author.
Yes.
Your two
Bestseller.
sons, yeah. Oh, let's put that on there. Husband is a best-selling author. Your two sons are best-selling authors
That's right. Individually.
individually. That's right.
And they are
So
also
it's
entrepreneurs. They have
come
their
on and break it down. I want to
yeah.
hear. What do your
I'm just so
sons do?
proud. Look,
You, yeah, I am too.
I'm grateful. I'm thankful to God.
Hmm.
To God be all the glory
Absolutely.
over the Cox household.
Hmm.
Um, my husband, for those who don't know my husband is retired Sergeant Marvis Cox, E5 Sergeant of the U.S.
Come on.
Army
Woohoo!
Infantry.
Was it woohoo? Is it
Okay,
woohoo?
infantry. He was footsteps on the ground with the gun to
Yes.
his hand.
Yes.
Okay, he wasn't in the back cooking. No, no shame to the ones who cooked, but he wasn't
The
cooking.
boots were on the
Okay, he
ground.
bootstrapped
Hmm.
to the ground. He
Yes.
made it
Yes.
happen. But
Wow.
he is also a poet and an author, and
Wow.
a multi best-selling author and now award-winning author. He won first place in
Presidential.
the Pay Pro V Book Awards for the male poetry category.
But we saw his presentation. He received the presidential award.
Oh yeah, he's a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award.
There you go. Yes. Yes.
Both of my boys are best-selling authors. Jaden is a three-time award-winning youth from Aurora. He won twice the Mayor of Excellence Award for
Mhm.
Aurora and
Mhm.
also the Dr. Martin Luther King Service Above Self Award. And he
Wow.
is also a Presidential Achievement Service Award recipient.
Uh-huh.
Marvis Cox Jr. is an award winning author. He
Wow.
won a Paper V Book Award. He also won a Mayor of Excellence Award from the city of Aurora.
Wow.
And he is a Presidential Service Silver Service Award recipient for
Mhm.
his literature for My Superpowers Are Not Weird, which was a number one bestseller as
Absolutely.
well for
Now the
over
sons
60 days at number
awesome.
one. My Superpowers Are Not Weird.
Now the sons, your sons are what age? Because I want people to
Jaden is
understand what these guys
14.
have accomplished. Huh?
Jaden is 14. He just turned 14, but he won his awards from ages 10 through 12.
That's
Um,
beautiful.
Marvis, he won his first award at 6. He wrote his first
Woo!
book at 6 with the help from his father,
Mhm.
and he won his awards from ages 6 to 8. So
So it's
I'm
not only you
extremely
forging a path with all you're doing, your
yes.
entire family is doing the same thing.
And the boys are the CEO and founders, and Little Marvis Jr. is the creative director for Young Saved Leaders.
Wow.
And they
Love it.
went from doing clothing lines to now they are going into nonprofit and humanitarianism. We take them every other weekend to feed the homeless. And they also donate half of their proceeds that they make from making graphics. And like I put up today, they do professional headshots. So you can send them your selfie and they will do professional headshots for you for $15.
I'm
So they
signing
do
up.
those things
I'm
and
signing up.
oh yeah, I heard you. And they take the proceeds and they give a fourth of it to different different programs here in Aurora and throughout Illinois for children and people with disabilities and autism.
Well,
So
you know what? My daughter used to complain about me taking them to the homeless shelter to help serve. And I said, "No, you need to understand this is life for people. This is how they survive, and you need to value what you have." And so once they understood, are we going? Are we going to feed the people today? You know, that kind of stuff. And I love to hear what you just said, that your boys not only are going there, but they are
we
also
don't go
serving
to
on a
the shelter.
nonprofit.
We don't go to the shelters though. My husband is like bootstrapped. So
Mhm.
we actually ride around and find the people with the signs who are
Yeah.
actually on the street
Yes.
and
Yes.
and he gives they we pass them out the food. So
Mhm.
and we do it all out of pocket. We don't get
Girl, I
donations.
know. I
We
know.
we don't do any of that. My husband is a cook. I'm a cook. We cook the
Mhm.
food. We
Mhm.
package it up. We take
Right.
the boys out and we do our thing. We do this
That's
every other
beautiful.
weekend. And if you guys notice, you will not see us on camera doing those things because we
Right.
don't want
Right.
to
Right.
violate the
Right.
people and make them feel like, oh, this is just for show
For promotions,
or
yes.
promotional purposes or anything like that. No. So you
Yes.
won't see pictures, you won't see this. You may see a snap of me in the car, but you won't
Mhm.
see us out because certain things we like to keep to ourselves,
Absolutely.
and just sow our
Absolutely.
seeds. And that's
And
the way
that's out of well, you know what? God holds the record in heaven, and that's who I rely on,
yeah,
having an accurate record, because it won't be tainted. There won't be any lies on his record. He'll
come
hold the
on now.
truth. And I remember when my kids, we used to get donations for toys. and we did what you guys did. We would drive around to see if we could find a family that we thought could utilize it. And I remember us seeing pulling up in front of this house where some small kids were playing outside, and it was in one of the neighborhoods that was not well to do. We pulled up and told the kids we wanted them to come get permission from the parents to come to the trunk of the car and pick out a toy. Girl, we had no idea that all these kids were going to come running out of the house. There were so many kids living in that house. We looked at the ones that were playing outside, but so many came out. We said, wow, we're so glad we stopped at this house. And that's what we did. We wanted to make sure we gave to those that didn't have to go through any kind of scrutiny, application process. We just wanted to drive around and just give out the toys, and it so blessed our lives. I love what you guys are doing with your young boys to
Mhm.
ensure that this is who they are. This is not something you have to teach or train them. They
Mm.
now have it in them, and then running a nonprofit, that says a lot.
Yeah.
Praise God for your leadership, you and your husband and your guidance that you provide. We need it in young African males, and it's definitely being ingrained in your sons, and they look natural at it. It's not
Yes.
like you have to put on a fake face or fake doing it. You could tell it's in their hearts.
Yes.
It's a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
So tell us more about Listen Linda. Tell us how did you get started, and how did Listen Linda start? Did it start as a podcast? Did it start as a book, a magazine? Where did you begin?
You know what? When I first started out on this whole social media thing, right?
Hmm.
I started Listen Linda under the name of Spiritual Sunbeam first, and it was on the Station Head app. And I
Okay.
was just listening to music and being a DJ, and it was fun. And then once I got into actually writing and doing like the poetry, and I came out with Laquita Parks. I was on a show. I was on Alvina Ryan's show. I don't know if you know her. Her name
Hmm.
is Alvina Ryan. She is an author, and she was with Black women authors at the time.
Hmm.
And shout out to Chanel Coleman Wesley. She started that group, Black women authors, and I was a part of
Oh,
that.
wow.
And I went on Alvina's show, and I said, I want to do something like this. This ain't pretty cool. And she's like, yeah, you can do it. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. And we kind of had that talk. If you guys go back to Alvina Ryan, shout out to Alvina Ryan. That was the first podcast I ever did. And then after that, I had a talk with Dr. Laquita Parks, and
Mhm.
she encouraged me to do it as well. So I'm like, I
Wow.
think I'm gonna call it Listen Linda, because I had a poem that I wrote in It Can't Always Be Night, which was my first literary work that was
Hmm.
published, but also my first bestseller.
Wow.
And I have a poem in there called Listen Linda, which I actually derived from the little boy who's like, listen, Linda, listen.
What?
And I wrote a poem about it, right?
Wow.
And so I wrote the poem, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna name it Listen Linda. And so that's how I I originated it. But I was doing lives from
Hmm.
Facebook, and you were one of the viewers, of
Yeah.
course,
Yeah.
and Carolyn Coleman, and just my
Hmm.
original people from the jump.
Yeah.
I just love
Yeah.
telling this story. So I
Yeah.
met you guys through the book club, you, Audrey, and Carolyn Coleman, and y'all would always tune in every week because I
Hmm.
would come,
Hmm.
I would play music, I would read some excerpts from my books, from other people's books, and I would just trinkle in there, and then from there I elevated, and I said, okay, I got with trivia from Trivia's Inspirational Radio.
Right.
And I started visually, like on an actual network.
Hmm.
And I stayed with her maybe about 5 or 6 months, and I decided, okay, you know what, maybe it's time for me to kind of branch out on my own. So I tried to get some advice from a few people, but you know how some people be gay.
Ah, that's
They'll
why. Wait a minute. Do you see the name of this podcast? Because I tried to reach out to some folks to give me guidance in the beginning on writing. Because leaving corporate, I had the corporate mindset, and I had to find my voice. How do I say it? What do I do? Is
They
it
gatekeep,
non-prep?
girl. They don't wanna tell you nothing.
No, they told me
They wanna see you float,
dial
roll
one
in
eight
free
hundred,
swell,
pay that fee first, and and schedule some time to talk.
which I don't mind about that. but we'll get into that portion later. But I'm gonna tell you why. That's why I'm gonna get into that portion later. When we get
Okay.
into branding and marketing, then I will help you understand that concept of it. But if
I-
if I'm doing things for you already for free, and you are my friend, and I ask you, hey girl, we got this thing going on. How do I do it? Then it's like I can't really, give you everything. You have to learn some stuff on your own. And it's just like, well, I ain't tell you that when you asked me to do. But and you know me for back then because you've been knowing me for a while. So
yeah.
I used to go tit for tat, and then I was like, you know what, Jackie, you graduated cum laude, okay,
Mhm.
in business and
Mhm.
marketing,
Mhm.
okay? It can't be that hard, okay?
Right. Right.
So I went to YouTube University, okay? I went to YouTube University. I fiddled around. I called Laquita Parks. I got some tips from Kevin Bond, and I went my way. Shout out to Kevin Bond. Shout out to Dr. Laquita Parks. And I learned it basically on
Mhm.
my own.
Mhm.
And it was kind of rocky at first, but I figured, let me do marketing. Let me start by just dropping little things, little
Right.
nuggets on
Right.
and figuring out my audience. What do they
Mhm.
like? My audience are not readers. Let's start off by that. Even though I sell books, right? And books are my thing, but my audience are not readers. They are visualists, they are creatives, they like pretty things, they like flash, they like,
Mhm.
graphics, they like my artwork, they like my creativeness. So they like my poetry. So I decided, let me take graphics, let me
Yeah.
take visuals, let me wow them, let me just give them a good time
Yes.
and incorporate music. I love
Mhm.
music. I'm a musical person. I may not be the best singer no more, but I still got my own microphone and
Mhm.
vinyls, and like I'm just that girl, right? So
Right.
I figure if I incorporate who I am and be authentically me and not try to be anybody else, I can only be Jackie. I can only be Liz and Linda. I can
Yes.
only be who I am. And
Yes.
if I am who I am, and my audience knows who I am, and they know every time they see me or they hear me, this is who they gonna get. They not
Mhm.
gonna get the AI version. They not gonna get the transcripted version. They're not gonna get the prescripted version. They're
Right.
gonna get me and all
Right.
of me. And even though I am outspoken, Dr. Velma, and I am, just wild and flared, I'm still Christian faith based, and I hold that dear.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
make sure that anyone who comes on my platform, they're vetted and they're aligned with
They
my.
understand. And
Now,
I do the same thing. And I know that what my journey was was a reality check because I don't open the door to people I don't know. So I understood that part. It was my joke. That meant that I needed to do the work. I had to go get my self-help books because there's plenty of them out there. Like you said, YouTube University. I went to another Udemy is another one. A Udemy
mhm,
has the actual teachers. I went through all of it. So I understood at that time what they were saying because I do it now. I don't just jump in to a conversation with someone I don't know. Somebody seeking me for some help. There's certain things that I have to look for and determine before I move forward. So it's important that I'm not making a joke about people establishing a brand and then charging for the time that they give to
right,
a person.
because
What
that's
I'm talking
different. Yeah,
about is the most important thing that I had to learn was it's all about relationships. I won't do business. I won't have conversations with. I won't jump on a phone call with strangers. I won't do it. I establish relationships and I make sure that's where it begins. So when people approach me, hey, if you need some graphics, blah, 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 hook me. I'm going, first of all, who are you? Have
mhm.
you
Didn't
introduced
say
yourself?
hello, didn't
Didn't
mention
you
your
didn't even tell
name.
me who you were, who I know that you're connected to. So I look for references, people that I know. And so yeah, I understand that now.
Yeah,
But in the beginning,
and if
I
I got
Go
horror
ahead.
stories that I will not share,
Mhm.
because what I won't do is tear people down, right?
No.
I have
No.
elevated. Ain't you proud of me? Because I
Yes.
got on here 2 years ago and
You
I would
don't
have
have
liked every
to.
single person.
No, you
But
don't have to.
I'm gonna tell you this: people wake up, Dr. Velma,
Mhm.
and when they wake up and they look in the mirror, they know exactly who they are
Yeah.
and they know what they do to you. You don't have to repeat it. You don't have to tell the world.
No.
You don't have to do that. Every day that they wake up, they know who they are, and they have that opportunity every day they wake up to change and be something better.
And I know someone who has the
It's
record.
not my job.
And I know someone who has the record in
Exactly.
heaven,
So
and that's all that
this is
matters.
my job. It
Yeah.
never was my job, but it's really not my job anymore.
No.
I have so many other jobs, honey. In the words of Favorite Parks, I got so many jobs that 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 is not even on the totem pole for me
No.
no more. Because
No.
I feel like when we do that, we're distracted from our journey and we're
Mhm.
distracted from where God wants us to go and
Yeah.
the mission and the path that He has for our life. Because
Yeah.
we so concerned like Lot's wife with what's behind us that we're turning into a grain of salt and don't even know it.
And
So we
maybe you're the picture of the way they should be. Maybe that was why you crossed paths. They needed to see what they should be like
yeah.
and
Or
are not.
maybe I needed to see what I shouldn't be
It
like.
works both ways, girl.
Or maybe I should have saw what I was becoming and pivot. So
Right.
it's a
Right.
lot of different ways when like you said, to seek wise counsel, right? A
Mhm.
lot of times we think we are in the midst of wise counsel, but sometimes we are in the den of thieves. We are
Mhm.
in the in the lion's den, and
Mhm.
people are really um misusing us. We're
Well,
all here to be
well,
used.
so
We're all
was
here
Jesus.
of
He
service.
knew who Judas was the whole time.
Yeah, exactly.
He knew,
He
and he
knew
didn't
he
say
was.
nothing. He said,
He knew
"Time
he
is coming,"
was,
and
and he still fed his tail.
knew
Do
the
you
plan.
believe that? And he
And
still fed his tail. And we
yeah, because he knew where the outcome. He knew the outcome. He knew how the story was going to end. He just left
mhm.
him alone, let him believe he was the only one that knew what he was doing, and which was not true.
Let me tell you something. And he also let him believe he was right in it, baby.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
thing is that when people try to harm you or they try to bring ill will towards you, Dr. Velma, the one thing I do is my dad always said this, and I
Mhm.
repeat this a lot in my life.
Uh huh.
Don't stay and cry.
Right.
Don't stay and cry. Don't stay and
Mhm.
complain.
Right.
Don't be complacent and complain. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Either you stay and you deal with it, or if you don't like it, you move on.
Well,
But
I always
don't
try to invite
stay
God
and
in. I
complain.
always try to invite God into the situation.
Yeah, you
God,
have
what
to
is
be
this and what do I
determined.
do with it? What do I do with it? And show me what I should do next. God, come in and show me what is the purpose of all of this so I'll know how you want me to respond. Absolutely. Because the blessing of the Lord upon whatever he gives me to do, I want it to remain there. And
I
me
have
tripping
learned.
and skipping over what you're doing or attempting to do can interfere with that. So
Yeah,
I try to be very careful.
everything is not for everybody.
No, no,
And I had to learn that who said that this gift was mine?
it's not.
If look, I used to you already know I used to call you something they copying me, they copying.
Oh, yeah,
They copying me, they copying. Let me explain something to you that I've learned just within this last maybe few weeks.
that's
Okay.
okay.
This is just like
Because
woke
this
up
is all
today.
about people out there who may be going through similar hurdles. Help them find their way,
Let me
Jacqueline.
tell you guys
Okay,
something. I'm gonna
okay.
take the glasses off for this.
Hmm.
Let me tell y'all something.
Look at me in both my eyes.
If you are a woman of faith
Hmm.
and you are a leader or you are in leadership,
Hmm.
your purpose, your sole purpose is to be copied. Jesus was copied. We are supposed to mimic him. So if we're supposed to mimic him, don't you think people, if you're doing the right thing, they're going to copy you? They're
Be the
supposed to
example.
do that.
Be
Why
the
would you be
example.
so frustrated about being an example?
That's right.
This hit me, even though people have told this to me a million times, but it took for God to tell me, like, okay, you know
Of
what, Jackie,
course.
you know what?
Of
I'm so
course.
sick of you with this somebody copying you. They not copying you. I didn't. It's not for you. It's for you to put out in the universe. So if somebody would say they coming out with this and you came out with it, wasn't yours. You didn't come out. You
Yep.
didn't get that vision by yourself.
Yep.
That's why
Yep.
I cannot call myself a visionary. I can call myself a creative. I can call myself a vessel
Mm-hmm.
because God gave me the oil. I
Yeah.
am not the oil. I am the vessel in which the oil is inside of me. And for what I'm supposed to do is put it into the world. Now, if the world decides, hey, I like what she doing over there, let me copy that. Copy it, girl.
Yeah. Because
Copy it, girl.
look, the real
I love
creative,
to see it.
it according to what I've read, it said that God created. So what little creativity drops he gives each of us, because that's all they are
He
compared to
put
what
it
he
inside
did.
of us. He
He,
have
and-
gifted us with everything we
absolutely. And
need.
so therefore we can't take ownership to anything
No, our
related to
gift to him
creation.
is what we do with it.
That's right.
We are not slaves, but we are to be of service to people.
That's
Okay.
right.
We are royalty, but we are royalty. Kings and queens are service. They are of service to their constituents, right? And
So
so if
what do
you're
you say
King
to
and
that
queen,
person who's facing a similar thing? What
yes,
should they do there?
they
Is let
they should be have discernment first.
yes.
Pray about everything that you do.
Hmm.
But also
Proverbs 3:6. Invite God in.
invite them in. Invite
Hmm.
them in. And with all things God, with all things, that God gives you, He gives you the spirit of giving and
Hmm.
receiving.
Hmm.
Okay, you sow and you reap the blessing.
Hmm.
But don't gatekeep the blessing.
Mm-mm.
Don't do it.
Yes, not
Don't
your
do
job.
it. I found myself trying to gatekeep the blessing.
I bet that was exhausting. Did you need an I? Did you have to call 1-800 IV delivered to the house to replenish?
Girl, you should have seen all the bottles of the Dasani water in here. You would have flipped. You would have seen all them cases Mr. Cox was dragging in here. I tell you.
Oh, bless his
Look, let
heart.
me tell you something. It was extremely exhausting
Yeah.
until the point I say, you know what, God, I need you to help me. And I learned how to let it go,
Hmm.
move on, and focus on what God's purpose is for me. A lot of times I used to call my support group and my support system and the people that I got 911 in my phone and ask them what I should do.
Hmm.
But I realized that God has a different purpose for me. So the way that people do things, I don't do things that way. And that's why I'm special.
Hmm.
You are special because God made you different.
Yeah.
He saw me where I was loud, flamboyant, and just out here and me, unapologetically me, right? And people gravitate to that.
Hmm.
People who may not have faith in God, people who may, everybody's a sinner in their own right, right? And
Hmm.
so I learned to not judge, not be have a gavel, you know. It's a lot of people who have come on my platform not faith-based, right? But they leave faith-based.
Hmm.
Okay. So a lot of times I like to meet people where they are
Right.
because just because you are at step 10 in your journey,
Hmm.
that don't mean you could turn around and look at me at step 3 and
Right.
judge me because I'm
Right.
not where you are. And
Right.
that doesn't mean if you're older or younger because I'm 36, but who's to say I'm not at 10 in my journey and you still at
Absolutely.
2,
Look,
you
I
know?
could be at 10 in one area of my life, but 2 in another area. And another area, I might be 8. And another area, oh, I got the 10 down very well. In the other area, I'm still learning. I haven't even gotten to 1 yet. So you can be in multiple different levels at the same time, depending on what area we're talking about.
But you know what, Dr. Velma? My toughest critics have never been my pastor.
Mm-hmm.
My toughest critic has never been um, people who are really like my teachers, anything like that, right?
Right, right.
My toughest critics are usually retired sinners. And
Did
I
you
want
say retired sinners?
retired sinners,
Whoa.
retired alcoholics, retired
Got
drug
it.
addicts,
Got it.
retired prostitutes, retired um, um, uh, women beaters, whoever it is that
Mm-hmm.
have fallen from grace, and then they go to church to get the healing, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then once they're saved, they are the toughest critics of the people who are coming into church. And
Yeah.
we had that conversation on Listen Linda about church hurt. You remember we had that conversation?
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's like you scare the people from coming to church because they're afraid of what the people in the church will say. And that's one of the reasons why I started Women of the Waiting Room, because we all have to understand that when we go inside of the
Okay,
emergency room.
but wait a minute. What is women of the waiting room?
Okay. Yeah, I'm moving too fast for you. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So, the Women of the Waiting Room is anthology devotional that I am the vessel for. God gave me the vision, of course,
Mm-hmm.
and we started last year. Um, I started after we did the She Said Yes to Herself Unapologetically anthology.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And last, I know, I want to say about 2 Novembers ago, because I won't say last November before that.
Right, right.
I got, God told me about this thing that I should do, and I said, nope, not doing another anthology ever again in my life. It won't happen. And so I decided I can't. It's this thing is inside my brain.
Ah!
I have to do what I have to do. So I called Laquita Parks, and I said, okay, I need to do it, but I want to do it with some people I'm comfortable with.
And what did God do?
God gave it to me. He
Yep.
beat me up with it, beat me
Yep.
upside my head. I called Laquita in the middle of the night. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning because I couldn't sleep. And he will beat that drum inside your brain and wake you up until you say, okay, God,
You are going to do this.
make it stop. Just make it stop. So I called Laquita, and Laquita said, okay, you already know how Laquita said, okay, let's do it. So I said, okay, we're going to do it. So God gave me the names of the women. He said, I want you to go and look at your analytics and see who's at the top of your list of people that have been on your show. Because
Mm-hmm.
my show was called The Women of the Waiting Room. It was Listen Linda Presents The Women of the Waiting Room.
Uh-huh.
So it's been something that's been on my mind, and I've always been saying the waiting room, the waiting room, the waiting room. I even posted something from 8 years ago when I spoke about the waiting room and my waiting season. So this has always
Mm-hmm.
been in my spirit,
Mm-hmm.
and its words just kept coming back. But the women of the waiting room um, derived from all my favorite authors, all the top people that had been on my show that year, and it is, of course, the beautiful Dr. Velma Bagby. Um,
Woohoo!
yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. One of my Mount Rushmore authors. Dr. Laquita Parks. She is not only the publisher on the project with Paper We Publishing, but she's also a co-author as well and a
Mm-hmm.
sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
Carolyn Coleman, one of my number one sponsors, but she's
Mm-hmm.
also the co-author of and one of my Mount Rushmore authors. I have seven, and it
Uh-huh.
was Dr. Audrey Ann,
Uh-huh.
Melanie DeVoice Johnson, and Teresa Dorsey. And
Oh, my cousin.
yes, exactly. And Melanie is our cousin, but she's her real cousin. But I call her my cousin because we might be cousins because we look alike and
That's
we got
beautiful.
place. So anyway, so I asked all the ladies, and of course, all the ladies were down.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking we wrapping it up. I got good graphics going out, everything. And I will tell you guys, starting anthology is not easy. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
speak about that briefly, but yeah, so I started early. I always thought all my anthologies at least dropping gems about it at least 6 to 7 months early.
And this
Um,
season
well,
is number 2,
this is volume two.
volume 2. Okay.
This is volume two.
Mm-hmm.
So I started early, and then I'm thinking I'm almost done. And Dr. Velma calls me up and say, "You should do a devotion." And I said, "What? Do a devotional?" I said, "Okay." So then I said, "Well, everybody's not going to be able to afford it." So what I did, I made it affordable, very
Mhm.
affordable, because I wanted
Yes.
everyone to be able to tell their stories. And
Yes.
people started pouring in, and the
Yes.
stories started pouring in, and we had over 30 women.
Yep.
We released the devotional and the anthology in the same week. Both reached international bestseller success. And
Mhm.
it was nothing but God. Nothing. I give him all the glory in everything that
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
it reached so much success. Somebody said, well, I started getting an influx of inboxes saying, how can I be a part? I want to do it. I want to do it. I want to do it. So the volume one came out in June. By
Mhm.
August, I was promoting volume two. I was recruiting for volume two. Now, mind you, this is August 2024. The book
Mhm.
comes out spring 2025. And now I've incorporated volume two of the anthology, volume two of the devotional. And now God put it in my spirit to do
Uh-oh.
a poetic ministry.
Aw.
So now we have a book of poets
Yeah.
who
That's
have
beautiful.
joined in, and you can still join for $79. You can come in and you can give us 5 to
I
10.
don't consider myself a poet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm not, well, not you, but I'm talking to the people in the audience.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. I'm sorry, audience. You have an opportunity is what she's saying.
Yes. So the book of poetic ministry comes out in April. And it's you can come in, it's only $79 to join. And you can give between 5 to 10 pieces of poetry that
Wow.
relates and that aligns with your waiting season. So the women
Awesome.
of the waiting room is like going to an emergency room at a hospital, going into any type of waiting room. It could be at the pharmacy, it could be wherever, it could be at the doctor's office, it could be at
Yes.
your
Any
therapist
any
session,
form of breakthrough.
any form of waiting season
Mhm.
in your house. You
Yeah.
have a waiting closet, a church. You can go wherever and just speak to God and just know that He will
Mhm.
deliver you
Yeah.
from whatever it
That's
is that
right.
you're going through.
That's
That
right.
is the synopsis of the women of the waiting room. We
Mhm.
come together, we share our stories on how God has kept us close, have covered us, have enveloped us, and carried us through our waiting season, and
That's
what
true.
that looks like, or what
That's
that
true.
feels like if you're still in that room
Mhm.
right now. And it has been amazing. It has
Wow.
truly been an
I
amazing.
know it's been amazing because it prompted me to write about my mother this time and participating in the second volume. And I didn't know that was pouring out of me until I started writing. And all my brothers and sisters got a chance to not only does Jacqueline work with her authors in the anthology, but she develops marketing material for each of those who contribute their stories. And she creates a beautiful video. And the video she did of my story brought tears to my siblings' eyes because they knew exactly how it spoke to my mother's story, and they said, "I can't wait to get that book. I just cannot wait." And so I'm excited about it. I'm excited about this project. And I remember I almost didn't participate. I wasn't sure if I
Mhm.
had time. And you were gracious enough to give me that space to create my part. And I truly appreciate that because otherwise I would have backed away thinking I didn't have enough time to do it. And so I'm glad you
I'm
did.
gonna always make space for Dr.
Well, you
Bell.
did. You really
I'm gonna
did.
always make space. You know what? The deadline gonna be pushed back. Okay. Because if time is the only thing that's stopping you, if money is the only thing that's stopping anyone,
Hmm.
don't let the fee be the reason you do not participate in
That's right.
anything with Jacqueline Cox and Listen Linda. Okay.
Yeah,
I am a firm believer that a way can be made.
that's
Okay.
right.
If you want to participate in a magazine, if you want to participate in a campaign with me, now I'm not saying everybody that come knocking at the door gonna get something for free. Let's be clear. I want
Hmm.
to make sure I let that be known because you know how some of y'all be. But what I will say is that don't let that stop you
Right.
from contacting me, and we can see what we can do.
So
I'm not.
I've had, and I do have to reach out to your sons, the headshot that you are able, because I talked to Jacqueline about having my some of my photos updated, and I thought I was going to have to schedule another time with a photographer and get some more shots. She said, no, you don't have to do that. We can take what you have and create something really beautiful for you. I've done that with Jacqueline. Jacqueline is a great brand strategist. She's created videos for some of my books and projects. She's excellent at that. I've gone and even had her create some other marketing things for me. I can't even think of the long list that Jacqueline has done. So if you're thinking of, um, what should you do next and how should you promote something that you have, including products that goes along with your book. She's wearing my t-shirt. She didn't have to do that. And
Mhm,
so it's important for you to know that you have people that you can go to who will be honest when they're working with you. Now, I'm going to be clear. You have to pay the price, but I've watched her prices. I've watched her set her prices and compared to other folks who do something similar, and her prices are excellent. So you're not going to be go wrong if you decide to work with her. So Jacqueline, we said we're going to set our time to a half an hour. We're now at 41 minutes.
yes, we are, and we ain't even
And
had.
we've had such a great conversation regarding the one thing that I wanted to close with is our question regarding a wise counsel. How important, and I heard you say that earlier,
Mhm.
how important is it for a person who may be sitting on the sideline and unsure how to get started? How important is it for them to have people around them who can support, encourage, and help them along the way? How important is that wise counsel?
Wise counsel is extremely important. Um, it was hard for me in the beginning. Um, Never hard to accept counsel. I've always been teachable. I've
Hmm.
always been a person, and I think that's because growing up, I didn't have my mom and my dad um,
Hmm.
around as much as I would like. I grew up in foster care. Um, my parents were on drugs, and although I could reach out to my dad at any time and he would come, right? But that relationship was strained. I'm bouncing from house to house. But
Hmm.
God had always gifted me with an older African American female that related to me in some way,
Uh-huh.
shape, or form.
Hmm.
Whether it be teachers at my school, whether it be the principal, whether it be the alderman. Okay.
Yes.
I've always found myself in rooms with strong black women
Hmm.
or just strong women, but mostly women of color like myself.
Yeah.
Um, CEOs of the DCFS have taken me under their wing. I find that God puts me in rooms with women of strength,
Hmm.
women who are faith based, Christian faith based,
Right.
because He wanted to keep me under Him.
Yes.
And how do you keep someone under God other than a strong black woman of faith, right? Because He
Hmm.
is the heart. She is the heart of Him. And when you are, especially in this field, you may, in social media, in living in the metaverse, you can find yourself warped in, in this reality instead of the reality. So you have to learn how to separate yourself from the reality TV or person, social media to the actual reality. And in order to do that, you have to know and trust that God is going to lead you into the right path.
Right.
When you do that and you find wise counsel, meaning it could be just anybody who is not the type of person to try to egg you into stuff
Right. Right.
that's if it feels wrong, then it is wrong.
Right.
And
Hmm.
a lot of times people will cheer you on knowing you're wrong. And but you have that in your spirit that's saying, I'm doing this wrong, but they're telling me I'm right.
Yeah.
The people that are telling you that you're right are not your people. The
Right.
people that are cheering you on when you know that you're doing wrong and you got that cheerleader over there. those are not your people. The
Right.
people that you are looking for validation, and they keep everything you do is that little project, those are not your people. The people
Right.
who are telling you what you're doing is not going to take off, those are not your people. You want the people who are going to be tough and honest,
Mm-hmm.
that are going to come with you with love,
Mm-hmm.
that are going to support you and encourage you and uplift you.
Yeah.
And I am blessed to have found that in my Fab Seven. Okay. Before I met you ladies, Dr. Velma, I
Mm-hmm.
was telling my husband, I was telling Mr. Cox, I was saying, right after COVID, because I
Uh-huh.
would tell him everything. He'd be like, I don't want to hear about that lady gossiping stuff, right? And I would say, well, I don't have no friends, because here in Chicago, I had so many friends before I got married. But the moment we got married, everybody kind of went
Yep.
their way.
Yep. That
And
happened with
like,
me.
oh, well, you married now, and then
Mm-hmm.
somebody told me the other day, oh, I don't call you because you work. I know you work. And I'm like, well, everybody work.
Right.
What? So because I got a job, I can't get a phone call? Yeah. But you know what? What I will say is that when people are not used to you being always available, they they will tend to shy away from you.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I will say, starting this journey, and God telling me, pick up that pen and start writing.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to meet people like you, Dr. Laquita, Carolyn Coleman,
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Audrey
Mm-hmm.
Ann, who is actually my life coach,
Uh-huh.
um, Melanie Johnson, Teresa Dorsey,
Mm-hmm.
just the people that I haven't talked to in a long time, but were still there for me. Chanel Coleman, Wesley Trivia, um, Connie Jackson,
Mm-hmm.
just so many people, Dr. Monica, just so many, different people who have come into my life and said, you know what, let me cover this girl, and
Right.
I didn't have that.
Right.
So but that's what I would consider wise counsel.
Yes.
People who are
Yes.
going to tell you when you're wrong, they're going
Right.
to tell you when you're right, they're going to motivate you when you need to be motivated, they're going to
Absolutely.
encourage you when you need to be encouraged, they're going to speak the word over you. It's I met you, Dr. Velma, and you was praying for me.
Yeah. Didn't even know
I
who
had
you were.
never spoken in front of a
No.
crowd, my true feelings, my poetry, because it was so in depth and emotional.
Yeah.
And it spoke about my mom who just passed in January.
Uh-huh.
If you guys don't know her name, China. And she passed in January. I spoke about her in my memoir, but I spoke about her a lot, and it can't always be night. And I didn't, it was emotional time for me. And you didn't know me from a can of paint.
Mm-mm.
Prayed for me. And
Mm-hmm.
that was our initial meeting. That's how
It
we
really
met.
was.
And
Mm-hmm.
we've been friends ever since. I call her
Mm-hmm.
Mama Velma, Mama
Yeah.
V. I know your kids,
Look,
I know your grandkids,
absolutely. I
I know
say
your
say to
husband.
people that that spot, that's expensive real estate, and
Yeah,
these are people that can't get in that spot very easily.
yes, and it's
It's
not.
kind of a earned spot in a sense, and
Yeah,
even the people that I surround myself with, and I consider my close connections like with you, that's expensive real estate to me. That says that those
absolutely.
people have warrant the spot. And so it's important that people are careful when they select those who would be that kind of person for them.
But you know what I learned, Dr. Bellman? I know we've been on a while.
Hmm.
And Mr. Cox told me I can have enough time if I need it, so I'm okay.
Oh,
But
and
I will
this is the final episode, so we get to do this today.
say, okay, yeah. I don't want y'all to be jealous. Don't be jealous. Don't be jealous. Don't be jealous. Don't be jealous. No, but seriously, in all honesty, a lot of times, we think that people are for us, and that's why we have to use discernment and
Yeah,
really, really pray when
absolutely.
we bring people
Hmm.
into our expensive real estate,
Hmm.
because even though we may love somebody and they may love us, they just may God may not they may not be there for a long time, and we thinking that is a arch nemesis or whatever it is. And what it is that you're just on two different paths.
That's what the
You
bottom line
met
is.
when you were
Yeah,
supposed to meet. You
that's right.
learned what you needed to learn.
Mhm.
You got the
And you
lesson out of
mhm,
whatever it is that God was trying to teach you in that moment. That does
right.
not make one person wrong, one person right, one person good, one person bad. What it makes it is an experience that God wanted you to have,
That's
and
it.
wanted to learn some things,
That's
and
it.
then move on and take what was
That's
learned
right.
and then and apply it to your life moving
And
forward.
that's okay.
And that's okay.
Yes, it
It's
is.
okay. It's okay
Yeah,
to
yeah,
move on. It's
that's
okay.
right.
Not that doesn't mean that the love for that person is gone or
No,
or
no,
anything like that. I've had
that's right.
people that I've meshed with and we unmeshed, but I've still sent them business. I've
Yes,
still referred people to their
I
business.
do the same
It's
thing.
I look,
I
it's
do.
nothing over here. It never is because like you said, Doctor, you used to tell me this all the time. Don't clog your blessing.
Uh-uh.
I will never, I
Mm-mm.
will never clog my blessing. I
Nope.
know what that feels like.
Yep.
I know what that feels like to have my name drug in the mud
Mhm.
for nothing.
Right.
So what I know moving forward is that treat people how you want them to treat you.
Mhm.
Seek wise counsel and be ready to learn. Always
Right.
be willing to learn. My
Right.
dad used to say this all my dad was a wise man. Okay.
Mhm.
He used to say this too. A man that knows everything knows nothing at all.
Mhm.
A
That's true.
man, and that can go either way.
You might
A,
think
a
it does.
man or a woman, a person that knows everything.
Thinks they know everything.
No, 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 no. I want to be clear. Was a
Okay.
person that knows like you know it all when you realize that you know nothing at all. You got it. You got the key to life because you know that you don't know nothing. You
I know who
don't know
does though.
nothing.
It's
God knows everything.
everything. That's right.
And so when and I'm gonna give you a sneak peek, Miss Queenie Clem. Shout out to Miss Queenie Clem. She
Mhm.
has a title, her title in the Women of the Waiting Room,
Mhm.
The Weight of Waiting.
Mhm.
The weight, W E
That's right.
I
I know.
G
I
H
got you.
T
Mhm.
of waiting.
Mhm.
We know, we should know that we need to wait on God and
Yeah.
give him that weight. Let go of the weight that you're carrying and give it
Mhm.
to God and wait for him to carry you through those things. Because when you wait on God instead of carrying the weight and the burden, it frees you from every stronghold that could be on your life and it gives you that airy essence that you need in order to soar.
Isn't that what I talk about? And even when it comes to preparing yourself for the mate that God has for you, to
Yes.
let Paul says to lay aside the weight, because you cannot run towards no goal carrying weight.
No.
You cannot. You cannot. And
Even when
not every
Jesus was carrying that cross, he couldn't run with it.
no.
He had to walk.
Yeah,
It was heavy. That was a heavy burden.
that's right.
But
That's
God
right.
said, lay it at the altar.
That's right.
And
Paul
that's what
said
I did. And that's why every time I pick up
some
a piece,
weights are not sin. That's why he separated them, weight and sin. Some are
yes,
weights and sin. Others are just weights that you're
yes.
just carrying around. So I agree with you.
Yes, and this
Appreciate
road
that.
ain't easy. Being a global brand is not easy. It's not easy. It did not happen for me overnight. I
Right.
started listening to 4 years ago,
Okay.
dropping gems, dropping nuggets, doing this,
Mhm.
doing that,
Mhm.
researching. So for people who think, oh, she got it overnight. No. And
Mm-mm.
another thing I keep is resilience.
That's
People think
right.
because I don't clock in a 9 to 5 that I have time. No, creatives work around the clock.
Mhm.
And I am a perfectionist.
Mhm.
And I put a lot of effort and money and everything into my brand.
Yeah.
Because I charge you 400, don't mean I made 400.
Right.
150 is going back into whatever project that you're doing.
Yeah.
So always remember that in order to be and be a success, you have to first put God first.
Mhm.
Bless him in everything that comes with it.
That's right.
Sow your seed. I started off doing things for free for people. I
Mhm.
started out doing a lot behind the scenes. I
Yes.
started out just basically
Yeah,
interning
you were
for
giving. You were
yeah,
very giving. Mhm.
very given, and I was sowing my seeds, but I also was putting in the work, and I was on the stomping grounds and continue to do that. Also do it with grace and humility and
There
never
you
think
go.
that you're better than
There's
nobody.
that word, grace. Mhm.
Grace, which is God's race. I call it
Mhm.
God's race. Grace.
Yep. Yep.
God's race.
Yep.
God's race. Grace.
Amen.
Grace. Never think that you are so far ahead that you can't fall. You could be doing it 20 years, Dr. Velma. I could be doing it a year. But guess what? If you're doing it 20 years and I'm doing it for a year and I'm on the same level as you,
Yeah.
that's no reason to hate me or be mad
Right.
at me
That's
or
right.
feel like you have to be in a competition with me. I'm not in competition.
There
I'm just
isn't
doing what
any.
God told me to do.
That's right. And if he
That's
gave an
it.
assignment to everybody in the world, there'll still be lots of work left to do. So there is no competition.
There's no competition.
Mm-mm.
Everybody can win.
There's a purpose in everyone, and God did that.
God did it. It's
Us
not yours.
individuals didn't. That's right. So, Jacqueline, we're going to go ahead and come to a close. You have made this a magnificent, magnificent
Oh, girl.
finale. This
Girl.
was a wonderful finale.
Thank you.
Now, I want you to tell the audience what, if they contacted you, what things do you have available that can support them?
If they contacted me, I have so many things out right now,
All
right?
right.
Um, I have I'm taking 4 new clients on for the Listen Linda brand and marketing
Mm-hmm.
firm. I have the Women of the Waiting Room. We're
Mm-hmm.
coming out with our books in the spring. I just dropped Fine Like China, which is a book that was inspired by my late mother and father.
Mm-hmm.
The hardcover and the paperback are now available on Amazon. I have promo packages this month for March. If you want a cover in the Listen Linda magazine, it's $79. And that's going all the way, because I know it's the end of March now, but it's going all the way until the April edition. So
Okay.
if you want to be a part of the March or the April edition of the magazine, you can reach out to me on Facebook. That's the best way to contact me, either on Facebook, Jacqueline Cox, or you can contact me at listenlindapresents1.com. You can book a consult with me if you want any marketing strategies or anything like that. You can email me at classedefined@gmail.com. That's CLASSEDEFINED @gmail.com.
Okay. That sounds wonderful.
I got so
You,
much other stuff, so just go on my
I know,
Facebook.
but I'm just
Yeah, I'm
saying
like,
to the
hey,
audience,
there's so much stuff that I got going on that anybody could be, participate in
well,
and
just want them to
choose to
be able
go
to take
with.
advantage of what you have to offer because you have some great
Oh, the
things.
book club. Can I speak just really
Go
quick?
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is it. This is it. Then we got to wrap up, y'all, because I got a lot going on. I'm sorry, y'all, but we got a
That's
lot going
okay. Go ahead. Tell us
on.
about the book
So,
club.
Listen Linda Book Club. For
Mm-hmm.
$99, you can we have spaces available from July to December. You sign up for $99. You get every week we do a live discussion on your book. It's over 400 members in the group. We do a live discussion of your book. Everyone purchases your book, whether they purchase it from Amazon, Kindle, or directly from you. We have live discussions about the book. You get graphics, you get videos, and you get Amazon reviews. Every member is required to give you a review after they read your book. So you get live, in depth conversation of people who are actually reading your book.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm.
And then Listen Linda, give out cash prizes. I give out gift cards. I give out free books. I give out so many different things during the live sessions,
Mm-hmm.
just to keep keep the readers encouraged to come back and continue to
Awesome.
do Q&A with the author. So it's
Awesome.
been an amazing, amazing, amazing time. So
That's great. And if they're interested, what is the name of the book club?
Listen Linda Book Club, and it's on Facebook.
Got
But
it.
we stream every week to YouTube, to Facebook, and to
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn, and then I distribute it on all my platforms.
Got it.
And that is 27 countries, 159 cities worldwide.
Got it. Well, everybody, you've heard it here. She's given you some great opportunities that has a limited life. So you want to take advantage as soon as you can. And definitely for those of you who are authors, if you want to get that exposure for your books, that's a wonderful deal where you've got a book club with over 400 members who's willing to read your book and then provide a review. That's so important. Jacqueline, it has been wonderful today to have you on the platform. Thank you for setting aside this time. Tell Mr. Cox I said thank him as well, because I know you guys are busy parents. I appreciate you joining me on this last day of this first season for this Finding Your Voice podcast. It won't return until the fall, and I'll probably start booking again in the summer for guests for the fall, but I'm excited. So I go back to Dr. Velma Talks, Godly Dating, Relationships, and Marriage. And that's what I will be transitioning into after this. So I'm so happy
I'm gonna
that
be
you
tuned.
were the guest. I'm sorry.
I say, and I'm gonna be tuned in because
And
you know I
because
watch
of you,
shows
I'm
that
going to
people.
have specific episodes for just married couples because of you. And you and Mr. Cox. I appreciate you both. I'm excited. I'm glad I had this moment with you. I'm glad that we were able to do this because we cross paths. Hi, how are you? You send me a message. I know you're busy when I don't hear from you in a while, but as soon as you have a break, I'm going to hear from you something. And
Mhm.
I appreciate that about you, that you know that I'm still here, still loving on you guys, even when I can't communicate as regularly as I would like to. So I thank you for your
I
patience
love you.
and the grace you have shown me. I appreciate it all. So thank you all for supporting Finding Your Voice podcast for this its very first season. I'm so grateful for those who have been tuning in, and I'm grateful for all my guests, but I'm especially grateful to share this moment with a friend and a family that I love dearly, and that's Miss Jacqueline Cox and her Listen Linda tribe. So I can't get past one. I'm trying to get my numbers up, and Miss Jacqueline has her numbers have shot up, and I'm going, what? How in the world?
Yeah,
But sh
27 countries,
girl, you're doing it.
159 cities,
You're
and
doing
to
it.
God be all the glory.
You're doing it. Hey,
And
and
you know
don't.
the devil will tell you, "I take you to that mountaintop."
Mm-mm,
God promised
mm-mm.
me. He told me
No,
all this to be
no. If
mine.
Jacqueline promises an assignment, if she says that this is what she's going to do for you, she will do that. Just that. So I'm so grateful. Thank you so much again. So everybody, enjoy yourself, and please make sure you connect with Jacqueline Cox and the Listen Linda family, and as well as her sons and husbands and their fabulous accomplishments. You might want to connect with the boys and what they're doing as well. Thank you all and have a wonderful day, everybody.
That was good, girl.